Welcome back to the Let's Talk About It podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Lashawnda,
I'm the Mike.
and we are going to be talking about what's new with us to start this off. So I'm going to let you share what recently happened with you, and then I'll share mine.
All right, so the cool thing is my son, he loves to sing, right? I don't have a voice. Now his mama and that side of his family, they can all sing. My side of the family, no.
Yeah.
We don't even hum good. So
Lord.
but anyhow, so he has been invited to sing at multiple locations for like open mic, karaoke and stuff like that. And he was so excited to tell me about it. So what I wound up doing a few weeks ago now was take off of work. He had no idea. It was on
Yeah.
Wednesday. So I took off that Wednesday and Thursday, and I shot down to Georgia to surprise him at one of these bars that he got invited to sing at. The really cool thing was, I'm not gonna lie, I was extremely excited. I was a little nervous because, I don't know anybody at these places or anything
Yeah.
like that. So I get there and I'm like, "Is this the place?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Can we help you?" So I told them, I was like, "Well, I haven't seen my son in a couple months, so I want to surprise him. He has no idea I'm here." They were so excited. So I wound up recording it and getting his reaction because he had no idea at all that I was there. But the DJ was really cool because the DJ was looking out. I had to keep my head down. I had to put a military hat on so he wouldn't recognize me. And as soon as he came in the building, he's like, "Hey, Mike, Joseph's in the building." And I was like, "What?" And so I put my head down. Or no, he said, "Mike, Joseph parked." That's what he said. And then whenever Joseph got in the building, he goes, "Elvis is in the building. Elvis is in the building." I'm like, "All right, cool, bet." So anyhow, long story short, I turned around and surprised him, and it was such a big moment for him to know that I support him, like wholeheartedly support him in his dream. And the boy has a voice though, like he's got
Yeah,
some
he
vocals
really
on him
does.
now.
He does.
So that's what's new with me. Absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to be able to show up for more events that he has going on. So
Yeah, I love the fact that because he had planned this out for like I want to say a couple weeks.
it was a couple
It
weeks.
was a
Yeah.
couple weeks,
Yeah.
and I love the fact that the day before he was about to go up there, because him and Joseph talked like multiple times throughout the day at this
Yeah.
point, and so he was talking to Joseph that night, and he was like, "Yeah, Joseph was about to get out the phone. He's like, "Yeah, why don't you just let me call you in the morning on your way to work like we always do?" And Michael was like, "Yeah, call me in the morning, and while we're on our way to work." So that we could talk. And so Joseph literally had no idea because during the time when he was supposed to be at work, he was really on his way to Georgia.
Yeah. And I actually bought a tripod for him, and I told him that it was on the way to his house. So I told him, I was like, "It should be there around 5 o'clock." It says 5 to 7 on the Amazon app or whatever. But the whole time I had it in my in my car. He had no idea I was on my way.
So he was real good with the sneakiness of pulling that off.
Yeah.
So I really love that for y'all. That was a really beautiful moment, and we probably will show like a clip or something somewhere so that you guys can
Yeah.
see. So with me, I'm currently doing a social media detox. Now, by the time this goes live, I don't know if I will still be on it, but currently I am on a social media detox. And the reason why I did this, social media detox in TV/movie detox. So both of them together. The reason why I made the decision to do this is because it's a lot going on right now. And what I've noticed on social media is that it's really, really negative. It's really, really negative.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening. And don't get me wrong, I understand why it's at a place because right now a lot of people are like feeling that pinch of things that are going on in society. There's a lot of news that just comes out everywhere. So it's like unsolicited news updates that you're getting whether you want them or not. Right. You don't have to like go watch the news anymore. It's everywhere. And then too, like it seems like everybody just complaining right now. And don't get me wrong, I be complaining too. So
Yeah.
I get it. But it started to crowd my mind. And I'm like, us complaining about different things, for one, are not going to solve the problem. And it's easy for you to get in your head and like feel like the world is ending essentially because there's so much negative things that are happening in the world.
Right.
And I just felt in my mental state that I needed to take a step back And then the reason why I'm doing a TV/movie detox is because I'm currently reading, well, I just finished it last night, the book From Trash Man to Cash Man by Myron Golden. And he was just talking about how, like, if you're not in a financial place that you're satisfied with, you ain't got time to be watching no TV. Like, why are you watching TV and movies, spending all these hours binge watching these different shows?
Right.
And don't get me wrong, like, you're doing it to escape from your reality. Like, you're just doing that for entertainment. You had a long day at work or whatever, and so you just by default turn on the TV to just kind of decompress, whatever. But why not create a life that you enjoy so that you don't feel the need to have to escape? And you're not going to do that by watching all these hours worth of TV and movies. And it really stung me because I'm like, dang, you're right. Colin just recently got me on the show The Rookie, and I love the show The Rookie. Like, it's like a police officer type of like TV series, and there's like 6 seasons. And I'm starting from the first season, and I've got to season 3, and this is when I was reading the book, and I'm like, oh man, I done watched 3 seasons of The Rookie. You know, like just day to day. And I have to replace those things for me with reading books, listening to Audible, you know, listening to podcasts, doing something that's more productive that will, for one, stop me from escaping my reality instead of dealing with my reality. And then 2, allowing me to replace that with productive activities that can push the needle forward in my life. So that's what's new with me. I love my little social media detox so far.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that there's been a difference for sure.
Yeah, I feel a lot better mentally already. I'm only on like day 2, maybe day 2 or day 3.
It's day 3.
Day 3, I already don't feel the comparison situation that I tend to deal with, like comparing my life or my situation with others. That has instantly been dropped. I'm not focused on anybody else's life and ooh, it's me. Why I don't got that, da 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 da. And then I don't have things that are putting me in a negative state because of what other people are posting. If that makes sense. Like, oh man, that's crazy. That's, you know, you feel bad and then you move on to the next post or the next video and then it's just that up and down that I don't feel anymore.
Yeah, I feel like in order to have a positive life, you got to protect your energy. And there's a lot of stuff, you know, that's introduced to you, whether it's social media, TV, music, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, the fact that you've acknowledged that, you know, because people, you know, you got to keep in mind that there are triggers that happen for people that whether or not it puts you in having anxiety or depression or whatever it may be. And, you know, so that's one of the things, like acknowledging that, realizing that, you know, is extremely big.
Yeah. I also felt like I was dealing with a little bit of addiction too, because by default, you just click on these apps. Even if they're boring, even if you're not going on there to do anything, it's just like your fingers get used to you just clicking on them every so often. And then you get on there and you're like, why am I even on this? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did I get here? And then you click off and then like a couple seconds later, you right back on there. Yeah. And then that's going to bring us right into our hot topic, the TikTok ban. Because I was going to say, I have to be careful with going on TikTok because I'll go a whole week and not touch TikTok. But then the moment I click on TikTok, I'm there for hours.
Yeah. And that's the thing with TikTok, you know, they have things that you don't know what you're going to find on there.
It's a slot machine.
So you keep, you know, going and going and going. But if you start clicking on anything negative, then of course your feed's going to be a negative feed.
Like,
so
more.
Right. But you know, now that we're actually speaking of TikTok, that's actually our hot topic today.
Yes.
So I kind of want to delve into that. The fact that they're trying to ban it is, you know. So I don't want to speak negative of TikTok because there's negative aspects of things and there's also positive aspects of things as well too. TikTok has taught me a lot.
Y'all.
It has definitely kept us informed on things that are going on. I feel like the fact that they're wanting to ban it, but you're not putting the focus on the real issues of what we got going on in America. It's definitely making me side eye. What do y'all? Why y'all want to get rid of this so bad?
Like, what's really going on? Because you can't say it's because they got our data, and it ain't got nothing to do with that. Because Meta got our data.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all ain't got no problem with everybody else having it, but all of a sudden, you know, like, I don't think that's what it is. I think that there's more. For me, I feel like they're trying to ban TikTok because it is the closest thing that we have to freedom of speech. And being able to go viral for your freedom of speech. And it's the closest thing to like what we said in the other episode with us being like the Bugs Life situation where like we're starting to kind of come together and start making changes because there have been multiple instances where like a company like Kellogg's or wherever will do something crazy and then people will go on TikTok and talk about what's going on.
How about the biggest thing, right? One of the biggest things that was an eye-opener for me was whenever they started talking about COVID and how these hospitals were overfilled, and then you got people out there in the parking lot showing empty parking lots.
Oh, yeah. You remember that? Yeah. So, like, different things like that they don't intend for us to expose. Right. Or also, I think that it's intimidating for the government. And this is all speculation, guys. Like, these are just our opinions. We don't know what's going on. Y'all don't either. So, y'all can't say y'all know what's going on either. But I think that it's ironic that they're trying to ban the one platform where if a corporation like messes up or there's some stuff, whether people are recording behind the scenes of like what these restaurants got going on in the back or whatever, and then it goes viral and they have no ability to shut that down and suppress what goes viral, because China don't care what we got going on over here like that. You know what I'm saying? To like keep something from going viral. And I know that platforms like Meta having Instagram and Facebook, I remember when the TD Jakes thing was going on, you couldn't even put anything negative about TD Jakes on Facebook. It would delete it. And the reason why I know this is because I was responding to a comment just saying like, hey, something going on with da-da-da-da. And the moment I hit send that comment, the thing like Meta was like, nah, you can't post this. Delete. And it was gone. And people were talking about how like they were deleting different things trying to cover that. So I already know that Meta is kind of like in cahoots with the government. So they're going to make sure that everything aligns with the false information. But they can't do that with TikTok.
Right.
And I don't think they like that.
I absolutely agree. I feel like TikTok is a place where, because think about it like this right here. Let's look at it from a positive aspect. How many different countries are we getting knowledge about?
Yeah.
Things that are going on in different nationalities. How many different videos of racism have been brought to our attention? How many different videos have been brought to our attention about humanity, about the beautiful things of life, and about the beautiful things that are happening where communities are coming together, and you got nationalities coming together, and you've got knowledge of things coming together. There's a lot of TikTok videos that teach you how to cook, how to do things, how to build a car,
live on the land,
so many things. It's very informational. Don't get me wrong. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that is, I guess.
It's like that toxic best friend. That's the only way to explain it. They're your best friend. You don't want them to go nowhere. You love aspects about them, and you feel that they benefit your life in whatever way, but they can also be toxic. And you got to take a break from them every now and then because you're like, that's TikTok.
So, well, the thing is too much of anything is not good, right? So too much of whatever it is always not healthy. You know, so you got to be able to take things in moderation. You also got to be able to decipher, you know, what are triggers and stuff like that for you, as far as like, you know, what upsets you or what sets you off as well too. I know with TikTok, like I said, if you click on the wrong thing and it thinks that you like it, then it's going to consistently give you the wrong thing. So a lot of times I'll clear my feed and restart over.
Another thing that I noticed too, I feel like we could like really go down a rabbit hole with this. Another thing that I noticed too that was also brought up on TikTok, and this ain't got nothing to do with the ban. We just gonna talk about TikTok for a little bit. I noticed that the men's feed is different than a woman's feed. And that's one of the main reasons why, like, because my kids beg to get a TikTok. They're like, Mom, can I have a TikTok? Like, all my friends have a TikTok. And I'm like, no, you can't have TikTok. You can't have TikTok because it's so unregulated. You just don't know what you're going to see. But I noticed that they show more sexualized things on men's feeds than they do on women's feeds. And the reason why I know this is because, for one, I've seen some stuff that pops up on Michael's thing, and I'm like, I ain't never, like, why is this on your feed? But then, two, there's been multiple people post on TikTok, like, they'll start a brand new account and pretend like they're a man, like they'll put their, their gender is a man, and instantly they're getting like sexualized For You page videos like right off the gate. And it's like, why is it like that?
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother thing. But I like TikTok. I do agree with you, like, too much of anything can be bad, but I personally don't think that they're going to actually be able to full up ban TikTok. I would be really surprised if it moves all the way down to where, like, we literally cannot access it anymore in the U.S.
I feel like people are going to nut up if they get rid of that platform. Because, like I said, I feel like this is the first platform. Look at how many people have come together on this platform.
Yeah. They've already...
Look at how many people, not trying to cut you off, but look how many people have been recognized and noticed. A lot of people have... gotten recognized and have blew up and actually became something in their lives because of TikTok. You got food people like Keith Lee and Bella Porch and other people that have actually become successful off of it. And it's not even just them. There's so many people that have created businesses and stuff like that through TikTok. It's given them a lot of opportunities. So.
Right. You made me forget what I was going to say.
But go ahead, babe.
It's all your fault. I don't remember now what I was going to say. With your big old head. I don't remember now. Anyways, okay, so let's move on with is there anything else you want to talk about with TikTok?
No.
Okay.
It,
so the question of the day, share 3 things that you're grateful for. So instead of us doing the 3 things together, you share one, I'm gonna share one, and you share one, and I'm gonna share one.
I'm grateful to be sober.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm grateful that I'm able to handle life and not have to numb myself, that I'm able to actually handle it.
And he's definitely been put to the test because, like, some of the extreme stress that we've had throughout these, was it going on 4 years?
4 years.
The 4 years of our relationship. And the crazy thing is, it don't never had nothing to do with us two. It's just life. Like, just things that are causing extreme stress. But he's done good, amazing. There's been times where I'm like, babe, I'm grateful for the fact that even despite us going through this, you're not picking up a bottle or being tempted to pick up a bottle. Because I'm like, if I was in the situation, like, I'm ready to smoke a cigarette and I don't even smoke, like, because of the amount of stress sometimes. So, like, I'm really, really proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
I am proud of you. One thing that I'm grateful for is my spouse and my kids. Let's just stay on topic. So I'm definitely grateful for my spouse because Michael, he is so supportive. And I'm telling you, like, I could go down a long list of different things that Michael does that just makes me grateful for him. But just to hit on a few, being an entrepreneur is not for the weak. For one, it is not for the weak. It is not for someone that does not know how to stay motivated on their own. You're not going to always have someone to just, like, motivate you to, like, keep going per se. You almost have to have your own ambitions and reasons why you're pushing and not willing to give up in entrepreneurship. And there's been some rocky roads with my journey as an entrepreneur. And one thing that I'm so grateful with having Michael as my spouse is he's never made me feel bad for the ups or downs that I've experienced in my business. Because there have been ups and downs. And I'm like thinking to myself sometimes, like, dang, he could really be like, yo, you need to get a job. Like, I love you. I support you. But you got to go get a job. Like, this is not working. Maybe you need to put this hat up. Like, maybe you need to just go on, do something. He's never even iterated or implied in any type of way that you need to give up this thing. Okay. And I'm like so grateful for that. And he cooks, y'all. He cooks. And another thing that he has done recently, I mean, he does it all the time, but this recently happened. I was having a mental moment. Like, I was just having a mental moment. It was a rough day. And he came home and I was in a mood. And I told him, I was like, look, Michael, like, not right now. Like he just came in like, hey, how you doing? What's wrong? wrong? And I'm like, not right now. I just need a minute. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. Da da da. And the first thing he asked me, he was like, have you ate today? And I'm like, no, I ain't ate today. I ain't hungry. Like, get away from me. I need a minute, you know? He's like, well, I'm going to make some spaghetti. I'm going to cook some food for you and the kids, you know? So go ahead, have your moment. He came in here, he started cooking. And it's funny because I didn't realize I was hangry on top of what I was already experiencing. But when I smelled the food, I came out and I'm like, hey, babe, you cooking? Yeah. And then after I ate, I realized I was hangry. He was like, yeah, I knew you was hangry. So I came in here cooking. And I love that about him. Like, he will see a situation and be like, okay, I need to feed her. She's hungry, obviously. And I don't always know that I'm hangry, but he does.
Yeah. Hangry is a real thing, you know. And a lot of times you don't even realize that you're hangry, but you really got to pay attention to your spouse. Like, for instance, when I came home, she was upset, and I didn't take it personally because a lot of times if she's upset about something, it's coming from a place of love, not a place of accusations or a place of, you know, trying to be hurtful, you know? Yeah. So when she doesn't want to talk, one of the biggest things that I had to learn is I like to handle stuff immediately.
Mm-hmm,
so
me too.
When she doesn't want to talk and she wants her space, it's very hard for me to be like, no, we need to talk about it right now. No, I want to know what it is. But that's something I've worked on. And I've realized that if I remove myself and let her have her space and have her moment, like 99% of the time, it's not even anything that I was thinking it was anyway.
Right.
So for me, I know that when you don't eat, I know that, you know, you get hangry. And so when I found out that you were emotional.
And I forget to eat.
And when I found out you were emotional and you haven't ate, I'm like, well, at least let's get you fed. And if you're still emotional after that, you know, then we'll take it from there. But no, she was good to go after I made.
And it doesn't happen often where I'm just like, I don't want to talk about it. But if I'm at the place where I'm like, I don't even want to talk about it right now, it's for multiple reasons. Like, for one reason, if I say I don't want to talk about this right now, is because I don't want to be rude. I don't want to come off as raw. Like, I need to be able to deal with my emotions in that moment so that I don't sound like a B word, if that makes sense.
Right.
I need to calm down before I address the issue. And in that particular issue, it didn't have nothing to do with him. It was just, I was just having a bad day. Some things had happened that day that really just got under my skin. And it just kind of like was building up. And so by the time he got home, I was just in a mood. And then I forgot to eat because I was in the mood. So I wasn't thinking about no food. So I said all that to say, like, even bringing up the situation, I'm glad that I have a spouse that can assess the situation and be like, all right, see, I know that this will help the situation. I'm not going to step in here and force her to talk to me. And then now we falling down. We arguing with each other over something that didn't have nothing to do with us. You know, so I love that he does that. And then my kids, don't get me wrong, like, they're stepping into preteen, teenage situations. You know, if you got teenagers, you know, where like the emotions and the personalities are starting to change. But I'm grateful at the fact that they show me so much grace. And one thing that I value with my relationship with my kids is the fact that I teach them things that I wasn't taught when I was their age or ever. Like, I had to learn them on my own. And so I always let them in on the real aspects of life to equip them in areas that I wasn't equipped in. And so I know that some people, they don't like to show their emotions around their kids, or they try to keep certain situations away from their kids because, like, you know, like, just let them be kids. And I get certain aspects of that, but I talk about bills with my kids. I talk about the stresses of life with my kids here and there, you know, based on their age level or whatever. But I teach them that now because I believe that we are going to be millionaires, multi 6-7 figure earners. And I want them to understand that you do have to sacrifice certain things. You do have to have a certain work ethic to get to certain places in life, or you're going to deal with these things, like certain things that we're dealing with because we're learning this at a later aspect or time of our life. So I love the fact that they give me grace when they see that I'm emotional. They step in and try to do things at their age level that can help. And I love that. Just like one day before, I don't remember what was going on, but I can't remember what the situation was. But I know, like, my youngest, he's very, is it sympathetic or apathetic?
Empathetic.
Empathetic. He will come up and hug me and, like, rub my back and, Mom, everything is going to be okay. And, and I love that because he didn't get that from me. I don't know who he got that from, but he didn't get it from me. But I love that about him. And when I see different highlights in my kids that they do, I always tell them, like, never change that about you.
Right.
Like, I really love that you do that, or I love that you have that type of personality or characteristic, and never change that no matter what. So, because I want them to see that they have good personality and characteristic traits that people will value as they get older. So I'm gonna shut up because that was just one. All right, what's your second one?
My second one is, I would have to say, my relationship with my son becoming strong again. But I also want to add to my second one. What I want to add to my second one is I'm so grateful that we're healthy. Like, I'm very thankful. Some of the things that I've seen on, like, TikTok is some of these family members going through some serious situations as far as medically and stuff like that. And my heart goes out to them. And I'm eternally grateful that God has sustained us in that aspect. And above all, like, that's probably my biggest gratefulness is the healthy. Seriously.
Yeah. And it's something that, oh gosh, let's try that again. It's something that you don't think about when you don't have the issue of, like, health problems. But then when you hear other people's story, and, like, sometimes, like, that's the thorn in their flesh. Like, they can't beat this health situation that keeps popping back up, whether it's cancer or, whatever. And aside from the extreme stressful situations that we've had, has not been health. The only time that it's been close to it is when, like, you got diagnosed with, like, pre-diabetes or something like that, and we was like, all right, we need to get it together in this area. We need to take this seriously. But yeah, I'm thankful for that too. I'm glad you brought that up. Another thing that I'm grateful for is not working a 9-to-5. I don't remember we talked about it on this channel, but, like, back at the end of last year, I did get a 9-to-5, like, mid last year sometime. It was something like that. It lasted a couple months, and it was rough. It was rough, but the fact that I get to be with my kids full time every single day, with homeschooling them, not have to worry about, like, where are my kids going to be when I'm working, like, if it's outside of the home, and being able to be at home and kind of, like, take care of the house. I kind of feel like a stay-at-home mom right now, and Michael's holding down the fort, and I love that. Like, I'm really grateful to be able to do my thing with my business, homeschool my kids, take care of the household, and not feel bad that that's my position.
Well, I think one of the things that makes it a lot easier and a lot simpler is the fact that we're both pursuing things, right? So, but our overall goal is to pull each other up, not out. And I feel like because of that, if her business takes off and then I'm able to leave my job so I can pursue what I need to pursue, it's going to happen. And vice versa. That's something that we want for each other. We don't want each other to work for nobody.
Right. That's the goal.
And that's the goal, so
yeah. All right, then what's your last thing that you want to share that you're grateful for?
So the last thing that I definitely want to share that I'm grateful for is where we are in life. A lot of times I'm upset or irritated at life and the fact that I want to be somewhere financially that I'm not. However, having said that, I'm very appreciative and grateful for what we do have, because there's some people out there that don't even have what we have.
Yeah.
And every once in a while you come across a situation or you see something that reminds you of that. And I'm like, okay, well, we have a house. Okay, well, we have water. Okay, well, we have food. And it's just the opportunity. Yeah, I work a full-time job. And of course, it's not ideal that I want to be working for myself. However, I do have days off and I do have time to work on what I want to work on. So it's nice to have the luxury of being able to do that instead of working 150 hours a week because I'm trying to make it from week to week. So
And you actually enjoy the company that
yeah,
you work for right now.
yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
They're really great. And so it's very relaxing, I guess, for me mentally at the fact that I enjoy where I work at and I enjoy the people and the company altogether itself. At the fact that I'm able to pursue what I want to do outside of that. And it's really, really nice. And it's really like comforting knowing that. Like seriously, it
Yeah.
definitely helps me have the ambition and the drive to keep moving forward for sure.
I think it definitely makes a big difference when you actually don't mind the company that you work for or the type of
Right.
work that you're
Yeah.
doing. And I think the reason why I'm so repellent of working a 9 to 5 is because it seems like every 9 to 5 I get is like a miserable job. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it even harder. And I just wish that I could find that company that I'm like, you know what? I could do this. Like I don't mind doing this type of work or I don't mind this company. And I know that like sometimes it's not realistic, but I do hear people that say like they love their job. They love the company that they work for.
Right.
So I do know that it's out there.
Yeah.
I just ain't had that experience.
Well, it took
That
me a
ain't
long,
my
It
experience.
took me a long time to get there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it
But-
did. So the last thing that I want to talk about that I'm grateful for is I'm grateful for my mom being celebrated this year. This year was the first year that my mom had an actual birthday party. She turned 72 this year, and she's never had a birthday party.
Yeah, she was in tears. It was amazing.
She was. And I relate to that so much because I don't have birthday parties for myself because it's always a question of who's going to come. And we've talked about this like with the wedding situation. Who's going to come? And then you got to worry about like the logistics behind setting up the party and like just different aspects like that. And my mom has always had that, like, I don't got no friends like that. Like, who's going to come and da-da-da-da. I've never been in a financial situation to be able to like throw her a birthday party. And so my sister this year, she was like, you know what? We're going to stop putting this off. We're going to stop making excuses for doing this. We're going to throw you a birthday party. And she did. And my mom had a really great turnout at her birthday. And she felt so loved. I could see it on her face.
I brought homemade macaroni and cheese.
Yes, he did. And she felt so loved. Like you could see it on her face that she was really grateful that she was celebrated. And then me and Michael and the kids also surprised her when she came here. This was before her party, but I surprised her with some balloons and a gift. And so I had the kids stall because they was actually with mom while I was setting up everything. And so I had them to stall and have her like going to these different stores and like just keeping her out while I did everything. And when she came into the house, we all started singing happy birthday. And like, she was so surprised and grateful that she was celebrated. So I love that. And I want this season to be the season where we start celebrating each other more. Us not planning ahead, because we have to plan ahead when we plan on doing stuff like this. Us not planning ahead causes it to come up and sneak up on us, and we're like, so what we gonna do next weekend? You know, you ain't gonna say nothing on that.
True.
Oh my God. Anyways, so moving on to the last thing. What advice would you give someone who is depressed about life?
So somebody that's depressed, and this is something I struggle with whenever I go through it. Try everything you can to find a way to communicate that to somebody. Let somebody know that you're depressed. Let somebody know that you may need help. Listen to me when I tell you this, and this is for the people out there that a lot of times it's guys, but there's some women out there too. This is for the people out there that feel like, no, I got to hold this on my own. No, you don't. It's okay to not be okay. Me, a lot of times knowing the signs helps too. For me, I like to get secluded. Very first thing I do is pull away from everybody and anything. I don't talk to nobody. I go into a dark room, and that's where I want to be at. Luckily for me, she knows that. So the moment that changes, she'll come back there and comfort me and stuff like that. However, one of the things that I feel like I struggle with is communicating in the beginning that it's happening. A lot of times it gets a little far in before it's communicated. And I feel like that's something that if you are somebody that goes through that, please reach out to somebody. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be somebody at work. It could be somebody that you look up to. It could be somebody that is a stranger. Whoever it is, just please at least reach out. Because we have way too many people committing suicide. I've been seeing on the news a lot of men, there's even women. There's a lot of people out there that are, taking themselves out over depression. People that have whole families, and depression is an extremely serious issue. It's not a joke.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
My advice is, for one, you kind of hit on a lot of different things. So I'm going to try to take a different angle and try to cover some things that you did not mention. So what advice would I give someone who's depressed about life? Know that your emotions will make you feel that things are bigger than they really are. And you make sure that if you are going through depression right now, do not act on how you feel in this very moment, because you could feel like this today, and then tomorrow you could feel amazing in the same circumstance. That's one thing that I had to learn, that when I am in the thick of it, it feels like nothing is ever going to change. And, it makes you feel like your life is over and the world is horrible. And, if you really get into your head in reference to that, you'll feel that you're going to always feel like this. Right. But I want you to know that however you're feeling right now, if you're going through that, you will not always feel like that. And one thing that I heard someone mention is to kind of help you get out of depression. It's not just like a one size fits all. Like there's just different things that you can do that may work for one person, but it may not work for the next. It's ask yourself, are you safe right now? Mentally and physically, right? And if you are safe in this very moment, just stay in that present fact that you are safe. And why I say this, and it sounded crazy when I first heard it, because I'm like, that's stupid. Like, yeah, I'm safe, but that don't make me feel better. But when I actually put this into practice, like if you were going through an eviction, for example, are you safe in this moment? Like you still have your house, even though like things are happening around, but in this very moment, you're okay. Stay in that moment that you're okay. And in the Bible, it tells you not to worry about tomorrow, right?
Right. Tomorrow worries about itself.
Yeah. And so you have to take it one day at a time. Now, I'm not going to leave it at that because it's easier said than done in that moment, right? Because you still have to fix your problem at the end of the day. Like you still have to figure out the core reasons why you're depressed and start taking action. What I find that works if you're going through depression is, for one, you hit on this, but I'm going to say it again. The first thing the enemy will try to make you do is isolate yourself.
Right.
Rebel against the isolating yourself, because if he can get you by yourself, he will start talking to you and it will get louder and louder and louder in your head. He will also make you feel like no one cares to know what you are dealing with. Right. And he will try to get you to stay in your head and keep listening to him instead of coming to your spouse or coming to whoever it is that you have that you can actually talk to and talk that situation out. So one, do not allow him to isolate you. Maybe you need to get out and go for a walk, or maybe you need to go and listen to a sermon, or maybe you need to go and listen to a motivational speech, or whatever that may be for you. But do those things, because you'll be amazed how it makes you feel differently after you take those steps. 2, I don't know if that's 2 or 3, but whatever, we're going to go with it. If you are depressed right now, do a detox. Because I could tell you right now, you may not realize how much of an impact social media has on this.
Or the news.
Yeah, or the news. Yeah. But do a detox and pull yourself off of all of those things, because normally depression, like certain things that cause depression, is if you're comparing yourself to other people. It's easiest to do that on social media, especially with Instagram, I wouldn't say so much TikTok, but like Instagram, Facebook, anywhere where you're seeing people like showboating, and they might not even be doing it intentionally, but it happens. And you may be comparing your situation with other people's. You need to pull yourself off of that.
Other people's highlight reels, yeah.
Right. Pull yourself off of that so you can have your own thoughts, and you're not getting other thoughts being created from other people's situation.
Right.
Right. So detox from social media and start setting the parameters to do something more positive. So I always kind of like hesitate on doing a gratitude list or thinking about the things that you're actually grateful for in that moment. But when you start listing those things off, you'll realize that it's really not as bad as you think it is.
Right.
And you actually do have things that you can focus on. And the reason why you want to put the parameters in place to kind of pull yourself out of it is because one thing that I learned is if you allow yourself to stay in a low energy or a negative energy or a negative vibration, it seems like more things happen while you're in that vibration. So you have to do everything you can to pull yourself back onto that normal vibration so that bad stuff will stop having that ripple effect in your life. All right, I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like another thing too that helps like with me sometimes is when I'm in the beginning stages of it, if you actually really sit back and think to yourself and ask yourself this question, why am I thinking this right now?
Yeah.
Why am I depressed right now? And try to get a handle on figuring out what is happening that causes these depressional episodes. Because sometimes it could be a trigger and you're not even realizing that it is a trigger. And I know for me, it could be a nostalgic memory of a song on radio or a movie or something being said or a smell. Just whatever it is, trying to figure out what those triggers are that allow that to happen. Also, she had touched on this as well too. Remember, it is temporary. Your emotions are so temporary. Even if, let's say it lasts for a couple of weeks, still temporary.
Yeah.
This too shall pass. One of the greatest Bible verses ever, because it does.
It does.
And the devil's playground is right here.
Yeah.
So isolating yourself is giving the enemy all the tools they need to destroy this up here for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's really good. All right. Well, I think that wraps up this episode. I would like to end it with the affirmation since we were talking about depression. Do you have an idea for an affirmation or do you want me to do one?
You do one and then I'll come off of you.
No, I can't think of one. I'm like having a brain fart. I don't know. I don't got one, y'all.
You was all ready for it too.
I had it in my head, and then after I finished my statement, I just it was like whoosh, just go, whoosh, just go. Let's see, what I want to say. Okay, I got one. This ain't the one I was gonna say, but so the daily affirmation that I want to say is, my life will continue to get better even if I don't feel like it today. I don't remember. Yeah, that's what I would say because I don't remember the other one.
Yeah. So anyhow, if you've made it this far, put the word butterfly in the comment.
All right, well, guys, that's what we have for you. Thank you so much for sticking to the end with us, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.